If it seems like the grass in your pastures or hay fields just aren't reaching their max potential, your problem could be compaction. And today we're taking a look at the best aerator that I have ever seen, and it is made just for that reason, taking care of compaction. Welcome back to the channel. Jess here, LJ on Farming Outdoors. And if you've seen the last video, I went over the RanchWorx SC10 by 36, which I have here behind me. I went over all the details and features and designs on why it works so well and why it's the best aerator on the market. Well, today we're actually putting this thing in the ground, gonna fracture some subsoil, see how well it does, maybe even do a water infiltration test. We'll see how it goes. Anyhow, y'all stick around, let's go. Now, real quick, I want to tell you about another aerator that I tried to use on the property here, and more specifically in this bottom. Now, this bottom is a pretty heavy clay. It's kind of a grayish, real sticky clay. And a couple of years ago, I actually rented, I don't have one, but I rented a Hay King Renovator because I knew that I had a lot of compaction here. I wanted to do some aerating and hopefully help it out. This bottom here floods from the creek, and it does it multiple times per year. That is going to be a main contributor to the compaction that I have here. And I got it down here in the bottom, stuck those shanks down in the ground, and the tractor just would not pull it at all. And this was a 6-shank renovator. I probably could have took a couple of shanks off and maybe got it through here, but then my effective width of aerating would have been so small, it would have taken me several weekends to get all of it done. Yeah, it just did not work at all. Like I said, I didn't own that renovator, so I didn't want to do any modifications and have to put it back. Another thing on the Hay King Renovator, I was able to use that on the back side of the property. I did some video on that. I'll throw a link down below if you want to check it out. But that is primarily sand. And the renovator is I was able to pull that through the sand. However, sometimes basically the Hay King, if you don't know, you have a coulter wheel in the front and you have a ripper shank in the back. The coulter wheel cuts the roots and the rhizomes and the stolons from your grass, especially Bermuda. And then that ripper shank goes down about 18 inches or so and it's supposed to do the aerating and bust up your compaction and hard pan for you. But if there's something there that gets off, I can't remember exactly, it's been a few years, there's a piece there that can get out of adjustment, and if it's out of adjustment and you don't know it, it actually creates a pretty big rip and tear through your soil and actually does quite a bit of disturbance. And I mean, at that point, it's, yeah, you're aerating, but you're basically doing some tillage there. Unlike the RanchWorx, which is a no-till device, you have very little ground disturbance, but there's no ripping action that you have to pull this through the soil and the dirt. So it takes a lot less horsepower to pull the RanchWorx through than it does that Hay King Renovator. And another thing on the RanchWorx that I like is the travel speed. Now this one here is only 10 feet wide. However, they make them 12 feet, I think maybe even 14. I mean, they can make probably any width you want. I know they make one up that's like 19 feet long. The Farming Ain't Easy channel has a 19 footer, and I'm kind of envious of that one. However, I really like this 10 footer here just because of the areas that we have around the property. It's hard to get around and turn around, and some of the tight spots that we have. So yeah, this one's 10 feet wide. You combine that with the travel speed, I mean, I can do this whole 16-acre bottom here in just a couple of hours. The Hay King Renovator, if I could have buried those shanks up in the soil, the travel speed is a lot less because that is a deep ground engaging implement, and it's using pretty much all the horsepower that your tractor has. This is a 105 horsepower tractor, and it was, like I said, I couldn't do anything with it here in this bottom, and it's all it wanted to handle over in the sandy ground. So my opinion is, so far my preference is this, especially for pulling, speed, less time in the field, but getting the same amount of, or more work done. The RanchWorx is definitely the winner in my book. Here's one of the areas where I ran the aerator over, and I just did this in strips. I don't know if you could tell that from the video, because I want to see what happens in those strips. So I did a strip, and then I would move over about the width of the drum, or maybe a little more, and I'd run another strip. So I made 3 to 4 passes through this little area here. And obviously it's going to take a little while to see results of this because we have to wait on the weather to cooperate. You know, we did some aerating. We opened up this subsoil, hopefully. However, we have to wait on some rain and moisture to get down in those roots, and let those roots breathe and get that fresh water down there, and then we should be able to start seeing some results. Again, it just takes a little time. However, with this device here, we should be able to see some pretty immediate feedback and results. And what this is just a penetrometer from Agritronix, and this just tells you basically how compact your soil is. So there's a little dial gauge here. When you get to the red, that's no good. Anywhere from the green to the yellow. Green is obviously best. That's going to be your least compacted soil. The yellow is going to be acceptable. So let's check a few spots here and let's see what we did. Now keep in mind, as I mentioned before, this is a heavily compacted bottom. This has been flooding for years, and there really has been no treatment to this area to combat that, because this is so heavily compacted. It may take several passes to go over this, and each time it's just going to get better and better. I'm seeing little divots here, so this is where we ran the aerator over. I want to go over here to a spot that I skipped first, and we'll try it. All right, I hit the red right there. That's 300 PSI, and I can show you exactly where it went. Right there where my thumb is. So barely just got this tip here down into the dirt. Now that is a spot that I didn't go over. So you can see how compact this soil is. Let's go over here and check a spot that I ran the aerator across and see if we made some improvements. All right, I've got some divots here that I can see where the blades went into the ground. So I'm gonna try a few of these. And immediately, I'm already going to be better than I was in the spot that I didn't run over, because those 6-inch long wrench tech blades are going to push down in and penetrate the top of the soil. So I'm already going to be better than the spot that I didn't run over. So yeah, I can feel that went down in there a little more. And I hit the red, so I'm gonna stop. So about 3 inches there. Now that doesn't sound like much. However, that is an improvement over what we did not go over. So all these little spots here where the Ranch Tech blades pushed in is going to be a spot where we can at least start to get some air down in there. Each of these are going to be tiny little ponds that will hold water, and the grass will be able to use that instead of all that water running off. So if nothing else, it's going to kickstart the process of getting this place here alleviated from compaction. Again, it's not something that always happens overnight. Some places are so compacted, like what I have here, that it's going to take multiple passes to really whip this thing into shape. Go around and hit a few of these and compare. Look at that right there. We'll bring this over and show you. I was able to push this probe into right here. So we got 3, 6, 9, 12. Just a little over 12 inches, about 12 and a quarter, 3/8, something like that. There's no way I could have done this on any of these areas where I did not run the aerator over. Major difference there. Again, not every spot is like this, but we are beginning this process of helping take the compaction out of this soil. And that's a major step right there. All right, we're out here in the bottom that I did the aerating in with the RanchWorx. Just kind of doing a pasture check. And after I aerated, we got, I don't know exactly how much. We've had close to 2 inches of rain since I aerated, and that's been about a week ago. We just got a little bit of rain this afternoon. You can see it's real foggy out here. Pretty humid. And while I'm right here, this is an area, usually if we get 2 inches of rain in this bottom here, it's flat. And there are some areas that hold water. Just little low spots here, and this is one of them areas, and I can tell because it has some of this, it's like a water grass, and that's not long right now because I brush hogged. But this is a spot that would normally hold a little bit of water, especially after 2 inches of rain. We just got a little over a ½ inch, just like I said, this afternoon, this evening. So this should have water in it, or normally I would think it would have water in it. And you know, I ran over this spot here with the aerator. I seen one of my aerator divots here from one of my Ranch Tech blades, and I thought, you know what, I got this penetrometer here. Let's get out and just test it right quick. And so what I wanted to show you here, I stepped out of the mule and just stuck this thing all the way down in here. Look at that. Buried it up. This is a heavily compacted bottom. As I mentioned before, it floods. It's a pretty heavy clay, and that's amazing right there. That's going to make a difference. I mean, we just opened up a spot. We can get good gas exchange in our root system. We can get nutrients down into those roots. They can breathe. We've got water down in there now, and this could very well change the makeup of our plants, because a lot of these, there's some grass in here, but there's some weeds also. And one thing about weeds are, a lot of times people don't realize they spend a lot of time spraying them, and what they are is an indicator of something else that you may have going on. In this case, in this bottom here, it's an indicator of compaction. We get things, you know, like you can't see it now because I brush hog, but there was some dog fennel out here. You have these, like I said, this is kind of wet bottom, so you have this rush grass. It's kind of, I call it a water weed, but it's a rush. You see it growing around ponds a lot. That grows in very heavy compacted soil. It likes it. So if we get this aerator going and get this aerated really good, some of these weeds may just start disappearing on their own, because the soil environment that they like to grow in no longer exists. And that will take away a lot of the need to spray a lot of this weed to get rid of it. Another one that you'll see in the spring is buttercup. During the late winter, early spring, this whole bottom starts greening up, and you're thinking, man, it's looking good. I've got a lot of green grass out there. The cows can start munching on it. You get out here and looking, and really 95% of, there'll be a little bit of ryegrass, but 95%, 90% of it will be buttercup. It just hasn't put on that yellow flower yet. And then when it puts on that yellow flower, it's just solid yellow out through here. And yeah, I could come in and spray it with herbicide, but that's not fixing the problem. The problem is heavily compacted soil. But we just ran that RanchWorx over it one time. That made a huge difference. And I'll just keep running over it as long as they'll let me keep it and keep using it, and I'll keep using it, testing it out, making videos on it. But just that one time is a huge difference. That really surprised me after some of the testing I was doing the other day. And I just wanted to show y'all that. All right, well, it's starting to get dark on me here, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. And another big thank you to RanchWorx. I will post the links in the description. So y'all guys go and check them out and tell them we sent you. And if you would, do me a couple of huge favors. Of course, if you have any questions about these, you can reach out to RanchWorx, or you can post the questions down in the comments below. I'm sure they will be checking for comments and messages for anybody that has some questions they want answered. And to that, also leave a comment and let me know what you thought about the RanchWorx, what you thought about the video. And the good thing is, it doesn't cost you a dime, but it really helps us out. Anyhow, that's it for this one. Thank you guys for watching. We really do appreciate it. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you on the next video.